right, folks, it's another Friday here, and would you believe it? In Christendom, it is day number 15 into the Lenten season. So wish you well while you hunger and thirst for self, for country. I am Citizen Jones Osun. Today on the program, we can tell you this. Tribunal upholds PDP's petition, declares Senator Adeleke winner of Osun governorship election. Police deploy 5 DIGs, 3 AIGs, and 15 commissioners of police for supplementary elections. Arrest 796 suspects for electoral offenses. Governor Yari accuses bandits of stockpiling arms in Zamfara. He says they are better armed than Nigerian soldiers, just as bandits have killed 5 mobile policemen. And later on, we share this with you. House of Reps to probe Kajur killings in Kaduna State as governor urges, the group urges Governor El Rufai to call stakeholders meeting on carnage. I'm hanging out with Babajide Kolade Otitoju. Jide, good evening to you.
Good evening to you.
There's also Martins Onoja here. I greet you.
You're welcome.
Yeah. Okay, so the team is ready. I hope you are. Well, you know, the political process in our jurisdiction is jinxed, or so it seems. The problem is never with holding elections, but getting defeated candidates to accept outcomes of elections. To the politician in our country, standing for election is a big investment, and so winning is everything. The Osun State Governorship Election Tribunal sitting in Abuja has delivered judgment in the September 2018 governorship election. The tribunal declared that the supplementary election was illegal. Therefore, Senator Ademola Adeleke of the PDP is declared winner. For the practicing lawyer, it is harvest time, whether he's defending or prosecuting. But for the bench, the tribunal chairman is in the eye of the storm. Jide.
Yeah. And, honestly, in the course of that, the sitting of the tribunal, a number of things happened that will suggest to you that this kind of outcome was possible.
Okay.
For example, the INEC lawyers did practically nothing to oppose the submissions and the applications of the lawyer to PDP. And INEC...
Okay, they should have reacted.
Yes, because
Okay.
they are part and parcel of the case. INEC also didn't do anything to even defend its declaration of Adeleke as the winner of the election. So the judge, you expect that, okay, before the whole thing comes to a climax, at least the INEC lawyer will say, we oppose this, we oppose that, we oppose. So when you fail to do that, that means you literally
Accept guilt?
Yes, accepted all that the PDP lawyer presented before the court. You have no objection. That's what clearly that demonstrated. And the APC lawyers were justifiably angry because of the way, because of the manner the INEC lawyer chose to conduct things. So at that point, if INEC that declared Oyetola winner didn't feel the need to defend its declaration, then how does anyone expect a contrary outcome? You know, I had seen, and even for some of the witnesses that the APC lawyer brought forward, some of their testimonies even contradicted the position of
the umpire,
of the plaintiff.
Oh, okay.
So the outcome, to a large extent, when you look at what transpired in the course of the sitting of the tribunal, the outcome was expected.
Martins, I didn't see this coming. Maybe you did. Jide saw it coming. Did you?
Yes, you know, so many political watchers and political reporters have been expecting what Jide said, and that's why the judgment reflects that. They said that INEC failed to explain nor justify the alterations, and that they failed to call any witness to justify the alteration that he was talking about.
Okay.
And then they said the judge, the chairman of the three-man
Tribunal
panel, said the CTC, the certified true copy, should and must be an exact replica of the EC8A pink copies. They asked INEC witness to oppose this and to explain why they did some alterations, because they did not accept that these were mere alterations. That's a very serious matter. Election that will put somebody in office for 4 years.
Yes.
Can't just do alterations like that. They asked INEC, they gave them an opportunity to explain their alteration. They just said it was a mere alteration. Okay, bring your witnesses to justify why you declared him with these alterations. Oh,
they didn't bring
so
witnesses,
they
simply closed the case.
They didn't accept the supplementary election.
So where does this leave us? Where does this leave us?
Well,
Because at a time like this, the umpire is in the eye, more in the eye of the storm than even the judge who turned things.
well, there may be an opportunity, you know, they will appeal this kind of ruling. Maybe there is an opportunity for INEC to explain, maybe in another forum, why it did not. Maybe it was handicapped, it could not. Maybe it's a reflection of what happened. Nobody knows. So I think that we should accept it as it were, as part of the majesty of democracy.
Oh, come on.
That if you are not satisfied, instead of carrying cudgels and other things like that, you go to court or tribunal to explain yourself or to file your petition instead of killing people, which is part of democracy.
Jide, but we can't fail to talk about this. The politician should allow this process survive, because democracy is in trouble here.
It's in trouble, and I think that as Martins has said repeatedly on this program, the courts are increasingly even taking away even the role of the ordinary voter.
Of the people.
Because courts are now, and politicians trust Nigerian politicians to overdo things.
Yeah.
You can imagine someone is looking at defeat, and the next thing he runs to court. Oh, I don't want them to do that collation. I don't want them to do the announcement of results. I mean, this is what we are doing. A day to election, you are seeing judgment from the courts. What
can only happen here?
Determining whether that someone should contest or not. You know, in Zamfara, if INEC had not been thoughtful to have actually come up with some ballot papers with APC on the ballot.
Yeah, okay.
Definitely, they would not have been able to take part in that.
They would have
they expected a last minute decision in favor of the APC, and so they decided that okay, they have Plan B. So if Plan A doesn't work, then we resort to B. And at the end of the day, APC Zamfara found itself on the ballot at the last minute. So, but in this case, it's surreal. It's surreal that you have INEC organize this election. If you are saying that a lot was wrong with the election in Osun, it is INEC that you blame. Yeah. Not Oyetola who took part in it.
Yeah.
So, and if INEC cannot stand up to defend its actions, then something is wrong. You do not even canvass any argument in contradistinction of the argument that the PDP lawyer brought forward. You did not bring a single witness. You cannot defend the actions that you took.
Okay.
So why should this surprise anyone?
Well,
you know?
The debate must continue. Gentlemen, I think if democracy is going to survive in this country, the politician will play a big role here.
And it's very, very important to
very
note
key.
what he said that I've been saying here, and I like what Dr. Jide on a platform, the Deputy Provost of NIJ said in the early hours,
Okay.
when he noted that we should take the steam out of blame of INEC most of the time.
Yeah.
Because the attitude of politicians who cause all this thing, who rush to court, who do this thing, who don't accept defeat, should be looked at in analyzing this democratic process.
Just so the ballot box remains sacrosanct.
I think also that I have to bring you to the notice of our viewers that the Oyetola camp has decided to appeal.
We expect
they said they will appeal, and that they are confident of doing better at the level of the appeal. So that's where it stands now. The minority judgment.
So we must pass over.
The minority judgment was being read as we prepare to come here.
Yeah,
so
okay.
we do not know the content.
The details, yeah.
Maybe the content could help them when they proceed
on appeal.
On appeal.
All right, then, we'll pass over. You know, elections and many more elections are the defining elements of our electoral process. We have just discussed that. Deploying police brass hats to monitor supplementary elections, talk about supplementary elections again, across 18 states says it all. Inspector General Mohammed Adamu has delegated 5 Deputy Inspectors General, 3 Assistant Inspectors General, and 15 Commissioners of Police to states where supplementary elections are to hold on Saturday. Adamawa, Benue, Plateau, Sokoto, and Imo states are where unfinished election matters are pending. The IG has a word for both parties, the deployed officers and the politicians. For the former group, he commended the group for a job well done, and the latter he warned to play by the rule. But again, we can add this: 796 electoral offenders are in the police net. What next?
Yes.
What next?
I'm concerned about the fidelity of our elections. As I always say, I long for that day when I can proudly talk about the fidelity of our elections in the company of foreign journalists. Because as things stand now, when you talk about the conduct of elections in Nigeria and you are surrounded by foreign journalists, there is a sense of shame that you feel, which will restrain you considerably. There's nothing to really be proud of. We can't have a situation in which all of these cosmetic measures of deploying DIGs to that place, deploying AIGs to that place, that will not stop a band of thoroughly hopeless boys manhandling a deputy commissioner of police. You know how high-ranking a deputy commissioner of police is. And a band of totally misguided boys will get hold of a deputy commissioner of police and be beating him because he didn't want you to rig an election.
Like an ordinary
in Bayelsa.
Like a criminal.
And up to today,
Nothing.
we still don't have evidence that those boys have been taken to court. So if the police, the IG can deploy 1 million DIGs if he has up to 1 million. To this, what we want to see is for those policemen to do the job that they are designated to do. But what bars them, in inverted commas, from doing their job is the influence of the politician. Once the politician has considerably compromised senior police officers or even senior military men, servicemen, senior soldiers, what do we see?
Is that possible?
Extremely possible. We then begin to see those junior officers turn themselves to thugs,
playing ball,
behave like political thugs, hijacking collation centers when not invited, and trying to further debase and degrade the process. So this is what we don't want to see. We see on the eve of election transfer of commissioner. I just heard that the commissioner of police in Sokoto had just been transferred. So we didn't know, we didn't feel the need to do this until
today,
like 48 hours to an election. These are manifestations of backwardness on our part as a country. We can't be doing elections in this manner. We can't be doing elections and closing borders here and there. Even for those states where they are going to do election, we are already closing borders. For what? Can't we do it better?
Martins, you know, the elector at this point is aghast. He casts his ballot or her ballot, goes home, and to him or her, God for us all. But it is not so to the politician.
Well, you know, that is why I think the data here, 796 electoral offenders are in the police net.
700.
796 electoral offenders. You know, how many times have we discussed this thing here, that these people, and I continue to remember, he would not like to hear it all the time, that these are potential murderers, and if there is any kind of mercy that forgives them, it encourages murder. This is what Shakespeare said long ago. I continue to remember him. Because if these people are not prosecuted, there will be more offenders next time. And it's very shameful, as he said, that this is the way we see ourselves in the world should see us.
Martins, is this really us?
It's not us, but it's us. It's us, because the people who are committing this one are brothers and sisters. They are not foreigners.
They are not foreigners.
They are brothers and sisters. That look at the attitude of people. We have watched elections in most parts of the world. You don't see, you know, we just talked about the involvement of court in the process. We are now seeing the presence of police and even soldiers, despite even court ruling to that effect in 2015 that soldiers have no place. But you have to involve them because of the attitude of the political class.
That's it.
And we are blaming INEC. I have also covered election in some developed parts of the world. Nobody knew. You will not find in the newspapers the Electoral Management Agency. You will not know who heads the agency. It's just one civil servant. I have said so here that I covered the election in 2008, presidential election. Only county officers you will find there is technology. And media. It's media that will announce the result.
County is another word for local government.
For local government, yes. You see, you don't find all this thing, INEC chairman, this one explaining to come and defend your thing. You don't find that. It's very unfortunate that even 24 hours after our election result in the most important, one of the strategic countries in Africa, the most populous black nation on earth, you can't find the result. We are still talking of supplementary elections to election that took place March 9. It's unfortunate that
76 hours. 24 hours.
But no, what I'm saying is that even in Iraq,
they do get the result in 24 hours.
You know, we didn't get it in 48 hours.
So
I'm saying that it's shameful that we can't do that in this digital age, when so many things can be deployed to arrive at this conclusion without involving.
But I thought they said your country was internet savvy.
It's internet savvy, but do we deploy them?
Are we ready for E?
We are not ready, because even
we don't want to be ready.
You see, yesterday, even at the University of Lagos, we're discussing this thing about what he said about shame. We're talking about branding. At the University of Lagos Mass Communication Department Alumni Association annual lecture, I was one of the panelists, 3-man panel that discussed Professor Akin Oyebode's original paper on rebranding Nigeria. We're talking about all these things like that. You don't talk about brand yet, but the people, international observers who came here to observe, look, we have, as part of the topic here, what they are saying about the outcome of our elections. It's shameful. How do you talk about branding Nigeria when this election is supposed to be a simple process? We are complicating matters with soldiers fighting, even police in River State, and we are doing all sorts of things. This is something, and this is a consequence of the character crisis within the political class.
That's it, Jide. So politics has become full-time business here, and so the politician must give it all. That's something to tackle.
For them, it is, politics has become like breathing in and breathing out. They see politics as their oxygen. And whoever wants to take their oxygen off them, they are going to bring out their court girls, They are going to bring out their guns. They are going to bring out their machine guns. So this is what we face. If indeed the end of politics is simply to serve you and I, we won't have what we routinely have at this time.
Because
if it's simply service,
you must not serve me by force.
No, if it's simply service, they won't go to the lengths that they go. They won't go to the lengths that they go. How should people be beating up policemen? A senior police officer, they were dragging him. What I heard was that they were taking him to a place where he would be guillotined. They were going to sever his head from his body.
You know, in one of the states, no names
here. A senior police officer.
No, in one of the states, no names here, this last election, the son of a senator, they are senators for life. He was a senator. He's still a senator. The son just graduated from law school. Yeah. He's not practicing, but he has won an election,
yes,
into the state assembly.
Yes,
so what does that tell you? Business, I mean, politics is full-time business.
For those ones.
For them.
Yes, for them. And we are saying that should not be the case. It should simply be about service. We can go back. For the National Assembly, if you want to free some funds for infrastructure, because, look, the infrastructure gap, the infrastructure deficit that we suffer, 10 cycles of budgeting, 20 cycles of budgeting cannot solve the problem. Yeah. So why don't we try to free some funds by even making the National Assembly part-time? Make it part-time.
But who does that?
Or simply pay people certain allowances that are not extortionate, because what you pay them currently is extortionate.
But Martins, aren't you surprised at this? In the Second Republic, not too far,
yes,
you know, I remember Senator Abraham Adesanya said, he was a member of the Senate, Second Republic.
Yes.
He said it gave him time to practice his law.
Yes.
It was not full-time. Yeah. So at what point did it become full-time?
Definitely it is full-time now, because I think we've been careless in taking part in the making of the Constitution.
Yes.
You know, you have a bicameral legislation. Do you need the Senate and the House of Representatives in a very rich country like our own?
Debatable.
Very rich country like our own. Do you need a bicameral legislature? Do you need full-time? Do you need... We should not allow these questions to continue to blow in the wind. The question must be answered. If we want to cut the cost of governance, look at the cost of this election. Even this supplementary election in 17 states is expensive.
Yes.
We don't need it. Technology can take care of some of these things. Technology. What of election petitions? You know that because of election petition, even a senior officer, I don't want to be particular, of the Nigerian Bar Association is facing some court charges over
funds paid to him.
Yes, funds paid to him for handling election petition. Even the late Justice Kayode Esho was complaining before he died that the way some judges were getting rich and the way what he retired
judges of the appeal court,
the appeal court, even Supreme Court, that the way they were becoming billionaires in his lifetime, that he felt very sad that people were getting rich because of election petition. And these are issues to be tackled in moving forward in Nigeria, because the cost of governance is too high, the cost of election too high, the cost of everything getting too high.
Once we make our elections, once we drive our elections through technology, a lot of these things will vanish.
Will vanish.
Yeah.
And the elections will be free and fair. Everyone will
Definitely.
see. Even Togri will disappear.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Because for example...
Because you don't need them.
You don't need them. If everyone has a national ID card,
yes,
by which you can even vote.
You can vote.
And technology will ensure that your vote counts.
All right.
Then where is the place of the thug? Where is the place of ballot snatching?
Gentlemen,
you know?
the backroom boys, it says it's time to pass over. But the message is sent.
It's sent.
It can get better.
It can get
All right,
better.
still to come, Governor Yari of Zamfara accuses bandits of stockpiling arms in his state. He says they are better armed than the Nigerian soldiers. And also, 5 mobile men have been kidnapped or killed by the bandits. That's coming. All right, then, welcome back. You know, these times continue to try men's souls in our country. Governor Abdulaziz Yari of Zamfara has raised the alarm over the stockpiling of arms in his domain. The furious helmsman could not hide his exasperation after a meeting with President Muhammadu Buhari on Tuesday in Abuja. According to our man, the bandits are in control of weapons that the military facility in Zamfara does not have. He didn't mince words when he revealed that in one armory alone, his team counted no less than 500 AK-47 rifles when the military there couldn't boast of 90. Scary to say the least. Meantime, the bandits have seized 5 mobile policemen. This is no child's play. The Zamfara story is becoming like a movie that was shot wrongly the first time. You must shoot it again.
You know, I don't know what really is wrong with us as a people.
No, me, I'm not there.
I wish I understand.
Me, I'm not there.
What is wrong with us as a people, you inclusive. Because we've lost the capacity to get surprised at anything. In just under 2 weeks, bandits in Zamfara killed about 100. 100.
Maybe conservative figure.
Yes, because look, sometimes with key people you don't even get to know. 100. And nothing happened.
Meaning they are roaming free?
Up till now, no, we've not seen protests from even Zamfarawa. Even their own Zamfara people on Facebook and other places, everyone keeps quiet. Because in the reasoning of these people, if you talk about killings, then maybe you don't like the government in power. You see what we've reduced ourselves to? And the people being killed are Nigerians. They are our brothers. And we don't want to talk about it.
Our children.
The carnage, there was a time when I said that bandits now kill far more people than Boko Haram. Some people were abusing me. But the records are there. Just check in the last 3 years. Bandits in Zamfara have killed more people than Boko Haram. It's clear. It's clear. Every week, every day. Now they've moved from even Zamfara to Rabah local government in Sokoto State. Rabah is the local government where Sardauna of Sokoto, Ahmadu Bello was born. If you know what they are doing in his local government now, killing people for fun. Because we couldn't stem the tide of killings in Zamfara, they have now moved into Katsina and moved also into Sokoto. They've always been there in Briningwari. You know, it's one forest that stretches from Briningwari right up to Kebbi. And they hide in this forest. So killing people in Briningwari is not really new. But I'm surprised, or I'm troubled about the fact that they are expanding to Sokoto and other areas and killing people for fun. When the governor said you have weapons that the army does not have, it just reminded me of what the Borno governor said, I think in 2014. While you cannot say it is true that Boko Haram had more weapons than the army, of course that is a lie, because they do not have the Air Force, you have the Air Force. The weapons that Boko Haram were using were weapons that they seized from the Nigerian army. Even Shekau himself said it. So I disagreed with the governor of Borno State. But in this case, the Governor Yari has asked for a permanent military base in Anka local government. Anka local government is one of the places where constantly these guys go to waste people. So what are we doing about that? What are we doing about setting up military bases and equipping those military bases sufficiently so that our soldiers can stand up to these bandits and still stand. They are running riot. The greater news that you read is about bandits killing people in Zamfara, not soldiers killing them.
Yeah.
You hardly hear that soldiers are killing them because that's not really happening frequently. You know, initially the Air Force went there, we unleashed the Mi-35 on them, but it's like those guys relocated because the good news about Air Force strafing them in their hideouts, the news, we no longer hear that news anymore. It's like they've changed tactics or they've gone somewhere else that our people have not located.
Or that the Air Force is not used anymore.
No, they are still there. They are still there. Their base is actually in Katsina. They take off from Katsina to go and kill them. But I'm saying that the frequency of those killings has gone down. And this is a time when we really need to save the lives of our people. Because even the humanitarian crisis caused by this Zamfara carnage is unbelievable.
Martins, you know, at a time, Governor Yari talked about, I don't know if he understood it, talked about declaring a state of emergency there, you know. That's maybe to underscore the level of killings in the environment.
I think he wasn't properly guided by history of when President Obasanjo declared a state of emergency, even in this kind of context, in his own administration. What came out of it, and even he was heavily criticized that it was illegal. But we study, this is not the kind of story we should be hearing from a governor who also said that he's no longer the chief security officer of the state. It's not, but he's been consistent. You should give it to him. He's been consistent in drawing attention to this thing, and you hear all this thing. He mentioned states within those areas. But now we are reading stories that all these people are even in Ondo, Edo axis. There are some people disturbing people around Okada. Not too long ago, you'll be hearing of some bandits too around Akure or Road. You know, these are issues. Yes, kidnappers. Whether we call them kidnappers or bandits, or they are all criminals, and they kill our people.
They are bandits.
How that musician asked, "How long shall they kill our prophets?" And we stand aside and look. So, how long shall we continue to? Yes, Bob Marley. How long shall we continue to tolerate?
And you say it's a part of it.
You say it's a part of it. It's part of politics or part of what? These are not the kind of things that give us good stories. This, like we were saying so yesterday at the University of Lagos Alumni Association, University of Lagos Mass Communication Alumni Association lecture. This is what you read about Nigeria. Corruption and insurgency. This is not a good story to rebrand.
Something that
it is
totally alien to us.
Alien to us, we didn't know. And from
whoever thought we would be a centerpiece.
A centerpiece. This is is a very important African country that we should be talking about how to join G20. We should be talking about how to be part of BRICS. Emerging markets in the world. We're not talking about that all the time. We come here to talk about banditry. Even the governor of Katsina State was talking, and even there was a publication that a big man from Katsina
nobody
State,
is safe anymore.
Nobody is safe anymore, and that most of their big men, Daily Trust also published that most of the big men in Katsina State are now buying houses and estates in Niger Republic, working in Katsina and living in...
that was a businessman.
Businessman. You have the money.
Once it's 6 o'clock,
this is not a good story about a country you want to rebrand.
But don't they cross the border?
This
don't they cross the border to get to Nigeria?
And because if Nigeria is safer, of course people will
And you know that this is one of the things we should notice, we continue to underscore. It's been suggested several times here that the security chiefs, the service chiefs and all those things like that, if they are not efficient anymore, if they don't have any new things to offer, if they are overwhelmed, there is this need for the commander-in-chief to change them. He should rejig. He's just got a new mandate. He should rejig, because this is not a good story about Nigeria. All the time we should be thinking of how to join the data world. That is where the money for development is, data. We should join the digital age, and not to be talking about banditry, insurgency,
and so on and
criminality, and all sorts of things like that, and even corruption in our country.
Thank you, Martins. Jide, is it too odd here to talk about our border crossings And I hear that in the 21st century, you don't really need a wall. You can use technology and, you know, police your border. Right, wrong?
We have not reached the point of using technology to organize our election. How do we use technology to police our extensive borders? It's very expensive, and I don't see us being able to do that.
But how did we get here?
How did we get to
to this pass?
Yeah, well, there's no way.
Because the borders had always been extensive, they had always been there. So why now?
But the borders had never been safe. It's just now, you see, even these bandits that we are talking about, if you trace the evolution of these bandits, you see that politicians created them, used them at some point, and then those guys felt, okay, what do we now do? They bought weapons for us. Can't we use these weapons to fend for ourselves? Go and check the history. Whether it is Boko Haram, you know, or even the militants in Niger Delta, who are ambushing soldiers. They have the guts to ambush soldiers. And the cultists in Bayelsa, who are killing people, just killed some couple youth corps members for fun.
Oh boy.
Politicians are responsible for arming them, or were responsible for arming them. And once they are through with using those guys, they dump them. And the boys having now acquired weapons by which they can make money, will now turn those weapons against people. This is what is happening. Yari was saying that, oh, that I have tried amnesty. Amnesty did not work. I'm not interested in amnesty anymore.
By the way, let's look at this. Martins Jide. Yari is saying, don't ever tell me anything about dialogue. I've held it thrice.
No,
especially in the dry season, they will sit down and talk. When the rains come, as they have, they are on top of the game.
Yes, the solution now is to simply not encourage further banditry. We should not try to appeal to these guys because they simply have not got conscience. What we need to do is visit the full range of our military weapons on them, exterminate them. If it is impossible, the Minister of Defense, by the way, is from Zamfara.
Yes.
He should be able to come up with a strategy that will put an end to this.
Yeah.
So that even he can give himself a good name amongst his people. If you are a minister, you've been there for years, and your people are the most harassed, your people are the most traumatized in the whole country, your people are the most killed in the whole country, then what is your pride in holding on to that position? Elsewhere, he will have resigned. But that's not what we see. So he should be able to come up with a strategy, work with the president and other people, and ensure that he ends this routine bloodletting in Zamfara. Once he's able to do that, I'm sure that he will give himself immortality. They will remember him for the rest of their lives. But for now, he's unable to do that. Neither is he able to stop the killings by Boko Haram, especially in Borno North.
Okay. Martins, you know, in River State, it started like a child's play.
Yes.
Arming these boys, helping you win elections. Today, the boys have become a Frankenstein.
Oh, yeah, that's monster.
Yeah, and giving birth to all of these things. Yes. Only the politicians, as he has said, can put an end to this.
Yes, only the politicians. But the politicians, it will be contradictory, but the politicians who use them and need them and are not developing them and not sending them to school. It was gratifying to know that the education minister recently, as a kind of contextual reporting of this thing, was talking about criminalizing refusal to send children to school. Parents will be charged. And then when you juxtapose that one with what is happening in Zamfara and see the number of young voters, and we juxtapose it with a story that came out shortly after that, they had 28 to register for WAEC from that particular state. That tells you a story about human development.
Yeah.
Anything to develop the human beings, the young ones in that place within the context of what he is saying. And I think this is the way we should be talking to our political leaders, that why are these stories persistent? Why are they not developed? Why do these things...
We must move on.
These answers to these questions should not be allowed to
blow in the
wind.
I agree. But I'm thinking of the figure 796.
Yes.
Bring one of them to court. All right, then. Kaduna State is not spared the unnerving reign of armed banditry. The Kajuru area of the state is not spared the goriness of mass killings by the armed men who operate without let. Between February and March alone, over 100 lives have been lost in cold blood, while property in their millions have been lost, families displaced and rendered homeless. The House of Reps is enraged. Why not? It has resolved to investigate the crisis. Governor Nasir El-Rufai has been asked to convene a meeting of stakeholders with a view to stemming the carnage. Aren't we tired of bad news being good news?
This bad news have never been good news. And we've always told the government what to do. What we would not fail to do is keep quiet about these things, because the people being killed are Nigerians. So if the responsibility of government is to protect lives and property, when government fails to do that, we have an obligation. We are obligated to report that as a way of drawing the attention of government to what it has failed to do. And that's what is happening in Kaduna. The hurricane of bloodletting is blowing across Kaduna State. Whether it is Briningwari or Kajuru or somewhere else, you hardly read good news about Kaduna State. It's a reality. People get killed all the time. The other day, Governor El-Rufai said that the killings in Kaduna are exaggerated by the media. He was responding to the killings in Briningwari. But the same governor who said the killings in Kaduna were exaggerated came out to say 130 persons were killed without providing the evidence. And the police contradicted the governor's figures by saying that the thing was still being investigated, meaning that they had not
verified.
They did not at that time have the figures.
Okay.
Or figure of the dead.
Announced.
That the governor announced. So if a man who used to tell us, accuse us of over-reporting or of needlessly escalating what's going on, we use his own mouth to say 130 persons were killed or Fulanis killed, then you can now understand why there are reprisals and these killings are continuing. Because when it is announced that you killed my people,
yes,
it will generate anger.
Yes, a reprisal.
And once you have reprisal killings here and there, nobody knows when it will end.
Oh, yeah.
I'm not saying that it all began with the February 10 killings in Kajuru. Kaduna has always had bloodletting. That has always been there. But it is the duty of government to end these killings and ensure that killings are not even politicized. Because if there's a place where loss of lives gets politicized, it is Kaduna State.
Yes.
It is Kaduna State. On both sides of the divide, killings are being politicized. We are weaponizing killings just for politics. It's extremely shameful. Every time I read about Kaduna, this one killed in Kaduna, that one killed in Kaduna, I'm wondering what is going on.
And the cynic Martins seems to be enjoying it.
Yes, definitely.
So bloodletting has become another way of life. Again, I asked for the umpteenth time. How did we get to this crazy pass? Politics?
Yeah, definitely. Politics.
Not simply politics.
But that is what we have been discussing.
When we fail to forgive one another.
Yes. That's why we talked about the about character crisis within us. Attitude, our attitude to everything. This one, I got to know that they have up to, from that area before coming into the studio, I got to know that they have up to 10,000 refugees in different camps from Kajuru area now. And that the humanitarian crisis there has been underreported.
Yeah.
Yes. And the carnage and everything that the journalists told me that they will not be able to report what happened because it could even bring more problems.
NEMA has been invited to come
to Kajuru, you know. And it is not a good story, as I will keep lamenting here. It's not a good story. They should take all these stories out of journalists' hangout, out of the front pages, out of prime time of television and radio news, because it is not, you keep saying this is not the way we were, and this is not the way we should be at this time. We should not be talking of this thing.
After all, we are a supposed religious environment.
Yeah, definitely, and as he said, you know, there are two operative words in the dictionary that should guide our people. Security and welfare of the people shall be the primary purpose of government.
Yeah.
Security and welfare of the people. They're talking of security now. Is the primary purpose of government, but they are not solving all these problems to ensure that we have foreign direct investment. We'll be talking of inflow of foreign direct investment into our country. We should be talking about critical infrastructure development and commissioning while they were campaigning. And we'll be commissioning this thing that, oh, look at what they have made of Apapa ports. Look at what they have made of a person in Port
That's the kind of stories
that's
the kind of stories we should bring to a hangout like this.
Yes, around.
Yeah.
And it's unfortunate that we moved from Zamfara. We have moved to Kaduna. We are talking about Katsina. We are talking about Okada area of Edo State. We are talking about crisis all over the country.
Not only the governor is, not only is he the chief security officer of the state, he collects security votes.
He collects security votes. But
you know, there are hundreds of millions.
Definitely, if they have their way, they will tell you that. Well, they are not in charge of security. They are not in charge of this. They are not in charge of that. Like the one of Zamfara trying to wash his hands clean the other day. So this is not the kind of story that I think we should be talking about. It means that the governors and the authorities in Nigeria are not handling this issue. That is why they keep coming. They keep coming. They keep coming. The stories keep coming. And we cannot say that the stories keep coming and we won't report them. If we don't report them now,
we will be
sacking our responsibility.
We'll be unfair to our people if people are facing serious humanitarian crisis. People are dying.
We have to report
them. Like flies. And we now say because we don't want one governor somewhere to be angry, they will not talk about. No, definitely. Let him be angry.
And in fact, that is our responsibility to make them angry. If
the only way that we won't discuss these issues is if they solve the problem. When they solve the problems, we'll all be happy.
If we report it, will become fake news.
Yes, we will be happy if they can solve those problems. That's why we are challenging them. It's our responsibility as journalists to talk about these things. If these things continue to happen, we'll keep bringing this issue to talk about. And when you eventually solve the problem, we'll all be happy. I asked repeatedly for Nigerian government to work with Chadians. They can come into Nigeria and fight Boko Haram.
That's it.
They've done that. They've allowed the Chadians to come in and fight. And we see the Chadians now having drills along with Nigerian soldiers. That should make me happy. We'll become safer as a result of that.
Now, what about cross-border banditry and so on? Can't the same governments and neighbors help in this regard?
It all depends. Like in Katsina now. Katsina, the government reached out to the Maradi prefecture.
Okay. Whereby
when you steal, because they have serious problem with cattle rustling, when you rustle cattle in Nigeria and you move into the Niger Republic, you will be caught and they will send you back here. So that's happening. They are already collaborating even with the Nigerian forces, Nigerian soldiers. The commander of the military base in Katsina is already working with his counterparts in Niger Republic. There's evidence of that. They had meetings coordinated by the secretary to the government of Katsina State. Dr. Mustafa Inua. So that's one way of solving the problem. If
do we need to reach out to Benin now on the western flank? Because I'm thinking of the border, Zamfara, Sokoto.
But you see, every nation has the responsibility to protect its borders. What we are just saying is, okay, let countries come together and ensure that criminals have no haven in their countries. You don't steal in Nigeria and go and hide in Niger Republic and vice versa. Or is it vice versa? Vice versa. You know me, I'm not an uncle.
Oh, yeah, we go again.
So, and vice versa. Now, so once you do that, they know that there's nowhere to hide for them. And gradually you bring down the level of carnage, the level of brigandage and all that. Remember when one notorious armed robber was harassing us from the Benin flank here?
What's his name again?
Amane.
Amane.
So Obasanjo threatened to shut the border at that point, and I think he even shut it for a few days.
Yes.
And they produced the robber. That guy stole a jeep belonging to a Nigerian minister, Amane, Tijani Amane.
Yeah, I remember the name.
We were able to brought him to justice. He stole this Dirovans man. He stole his Benz. Yes, Ayegbeni. He stole his Benz, and that thing was rampant. People were being killed here, and then Obasanjo descended on them, and they did the right thing. They produced the criminal. We put him on trial here.
Otherwise, it is possible.
It is possible.
As we
you see,
here.
the thing is, with what we are doing with Chad now, Chad will secure his part and also help us to secure our own part, because the bulk of the islands where Boko Haram continues to hibernate in Nigeria, the bulk of those islands of Lake Chad are on the Nigerian side. So they can help us. Niger too, they are working hard at their own end. So once we deal with Boko Haram, we can extend the same template. We can use the same template to deal with banditry along Katsina, Zamfara, and even Kebbi and Sokoto, because we share border with Niger Republic in that area.
Martins, you know, now the House of Reps has stepped into the fray. What should it do beyond rhetorics?
Well, the answer to your question is blowing in the wind again. Because we keep hearing about we have stepped into this, we have stepped into that. But it is there. We know how to talk. But planning and execution, planning to move from rhetoric to action has been our own challenge. Whether House of Representatives decided they can meet today, they do something, whatever they have also said have always remained inconclusive too. And they don't go beyond that. So the story of inconclusive this, inconclusive that will not end in our country because our people are not trustworthy again, especially with execution. Yeah, they can say they have stepped in, but you know, not many people will take them very serious. That they are going to do something concrete along this line. Not only them, all other agencies you hear in the media, oh, they have, we hear that service chiefs, we are meeting with the chiefs here and there. But at the end of the day, what comes out of it?
Because for me, a bullet does not know a PDP man, an
APC or anybody,
APC or BBC or
BBC or anything.
It takes, or anybody.
Yeah, definitely.
You know, so
it's blind.
This goes beyond politics, partisan or otherwise.
Yes.
It's for all hands to be on deck. How do you take it, Joe?
I want, for Kaduna especially, we need to send more security personnel to the area. We know the area. We can just localize that area and put enough security men there to stem these killings. You know, that shouldn't be difficult to do. Let's secure the people. And then the people who are facing humanitarian crisis, let's reach out and try to make them happy. Then finally, the undesirable elements who are arming militias on both sides, killing people, we have to identify them and bring them justice.
Not just bring them to book, to music, make them dance to the music.
To the music.
All right, Martins Oloja, I thank you for your time.
You're welcome.
Babajide Kolade Utitojo. I was going to declare But the stories we got today are so dispiriting. Yeah. We must leave it for next Friday.
Hopefully we'll have better news.
Oh, yeah. All right. So that will just about do it for the program today and this week. But join us next week on another episode. But if you missed this, the broadcast will be repeated at 11. Join us at the time and watch Journalist Hangout on other platforms. We'll show you on the screen, and on YouTube at youtube.com/TVC News Nigeria. The feedback channel remains the same. I am Citizen Jones Osun. The Lenten season is still on. Please think yourself and think country. Pray for yourself, pray for country. I'm out of here. Bye-bye now.